One of the neat things here in Prince George is you can learn all about how wine is being made from apples. I'm with Doug Bell, and you own a winery here that's focusing on taking fruit and making it into wine. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it's really neat. We're actually the largest fruit winery in British Columbia, and we're the most northern winery in British Columbia. And so we specialize in making these wines from fruits other than grapes. One of the really cool wines we make is an apple wine, which we collect apples from around our communities to try and minimize human-bear interaction and make a delicious wine out of it that's very similar to a Pinot Gris.
So where did this idea come from?
Well, it actually was a great partnership with the Northern Bear Awareness Society. We have a problem in Prince George, and that's that people don't pick the apples off their trees, and it attracts bears into the area. Sometimes those bears are too close for human comfort and can actually end up being destroyed. We don't want to see that in our area, so what we do is we try and remove those attractants and make a delicious wine out of it.
Ooh, and I love bears, I love apples, and I love wine, so this sounds wonderful.
Well, why don't we go and crush and press some apples and have some fun then.
Thank you, let's do that.
All right, so I'd like you to meet Kieran, and Kieran is actually going to show you how to press apples today.
Okay.
Hello.
So how do we do this? We've had these apples, and you've put them in here, and they've all turned into this.
Through the crusher,
yes.
And then they come out just like this in this pulp.
Okay.
So we're going to empty this juice into the bucket here.
Okay.
You want to do that with me?
Yes, I'd love to do that, Kieran. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Okay.
And then we're just going to pour it right in here.
Ooh. All right, so how many apples does it take to fill this up?
About 800 pounds of apples to fill one of those barrels with juice.
Wow. All right, so what's the next step?
Okay, so next we're going to finish putting the crushed apples into the press.
Let's do it.
So these are really heavy.
Really? Okay, 2 hands, 2 hands. Save my back.
Okay, tip.
Wow, now I know why the bears want these. It looks good.
They're delicious apples.
It smells really sweet.
Well, one of the keys to this ingredient is lots of crab apples, which is more of a northern apple.
Okay.
They're really delicious and they're very sweet.
What about the skins? They get in the way?
No, actually, the skins are very important because they provide both tannin and acidity to the wine.
Isn't that interesting?
So next we want to make sure that this lid is on really nice and flat. So we're going to actually press it down on both sides. There you go. And you can just force down on there. If you want to push down on this side for me, Brandy, that would be great.
Okay. I'm gonna take Kieran's job here.
There you go.
Sorry, Kieran.
And then you just put the top on if you want to spin it.
Yeah. And what is this big contraption here? What are we doing?
So what this is called is a basket press, and it actually has a bladder inside it that will expand with water, and that will press all of the pulp against the sides of the device, which will push the juice out the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, so what we're gonna do now that we have this nice and tight is going to go around the back of the machine, and we're gonna turn on the water flow.
Okay.
So you're just going to turn
That knob?
Yeah. Turn it all the way. And then this one we also have to close. That's where we let the water out.
So do this?
Yeah. Perfect.
So water's going in now?
Water is now going in.
All right, and I'm already seeing some beautiful juice coming here. All right.
So are you ready to empty it again?
Serious business. All right.
All right, so the pressing has now been completed. So now we're gonna go see what the pulp looks like inside. So we'll get a chance to clean this up a little bit as well.
Okay.
Okay, so we've turned off the water now. So we're gonna release the lid.
Ooh.
Look at this
Wow.
stuff.
So what are you gonna do with this again?
So this here is actually gonna be used as feed for cattle and for pigs for local farmers. You can see that it's nice and dry now. It's very hard. You get a little bit of juice out of it, but almost nothing at all. Every pound of apples gets about a quarter of a liter of juice. So you need a lot of fruit to make the juice that we're making for the wine.
Wow.
Ready to get your hands dirty?
Why? What are we gonna do?
You get to take it all out.
We have to take it all
right.
out? You're hilarious.
So you can see it goes quite deep. This is the nice red bladder here that actually has been pressed out and pressed all that juice out. You're doing a really nice job there, Brandy. And actually, we got a really cool thing happening right now because one of the bears that we're trying to save is actually just across the road.
Wow, that's so funny. He's just hanging there in the grass.
Yeah, we call him Benny the bear. He's a really friendly guy.
Wow, and what, there's just so many bears around here that you just look across the street and you see one?
It's really a unique part of Prince George, British Columbia, is you can be so close to the wilderness and yet you're so close to the urban lifestyle that we like.
Wow. Well, we better hurry up and get all these apples before he smells
Let's do it.
them. This looks quite good. These different wines. What have you decided that we're going to taste here?
Well, this is my favorite part of the day, I think, and we're got a nice little selection here of some of our best wines. So we have our Lumiere Blanche, which is our apple wine. This is nice and light and fresh. It's a little bit citrusy on the finish, and it's made out of those Bearware apples. Beside it, we have our Seduction wine, which is our #1 seller, and actually the #1 fruit wine in BC right now. It's made with strawberry and rhubarb. Very delicious, much like a Gewürztraminer. Beside that, we actually have our Cassis Noir. This one is a little more full-bodied. It has really good acidity, and it's so fragrant. It's very, very beautiful. And last but not least, this one here is one of my favorite wines. It's called Indulgence. It's a raspberry port-style dessert wine.
Wow,
Great way
I
to
already know
finish
which one I want. No, I'm just kidding.
So why don't we start off with the Lumiere Blanche,
Sure.
our Bearware wine. And this one here, one of the things that, again, is so important is that it is trying to save the bears, right? We're trying to promote awareness, making sure people are picking the apples from their trees and removing fruit from areas that are at risk for attracting bears. And of course, this is something that makes a really delicious wine too.
This is like the adult apple juice, right?
Absolutely.
Wonderful. It smells really sweet. How would you describe how it smells?
Well, this one here, you're getting that apple on the nose, really fragrant from the tree fruits. I also get a little bit of citrus coming forward. The other thing about this one here is it is similar to a cider in aroma, but then it has more of the acidity that you need to pair with the foods. So it's also not carbonated, a little bit different than you're gonna find in a cider. This one here is truly a nice light white wine.
Beautiful, okay. Cheers to the bears. That's really
nice.
Good.
Yes, it has just the right amount of tannin, acidity, body, and different characteristics that are going to allow it to interact nicely with your food pairings. This one here pairs really nice with pasta, with seafood, or with sweet foods because it is so light and fresh. So this wine here is going to really complement that food well. Also, it has enough acidity that it's going to carry the food, but it's light enough that if you have it on its own in a glass, you're also going to be very pleased.
Wonderful. Okay, I love that one.
So next we're going to have our Seduction wine. This was, of course, the #1 seller in BC. This is the #1 fruit wine here, and it won many, many awards.
Good for you. And what's in the ingredients again?
So this one here is a blend of rhubarb and strawberry. Now, when you first try this, you're going to get a lot of strawberry on the nose, you're going to get strawberry on the tongue, but the rhubarb carries a lot of acidity. So this one is really good in particular for spicy foods, cheeses, charcuterie. You're really going to have a nice time with this one in just a glass on the patio on a hot day. This wine here is very nice and light and fresh, but it's actually 80% rhubarb, only 20% strawberry, which would really fool you when you taste how much strawberry is actually in the glass.
And where do you get the strawberries and the rhubarb?
So we actually grow rhubarb here in Prince George at 2 of our farms, and strawberries as well. And anything that we can't get from our farms locally, we only source from British Columbia.
It does smell like strawberry. Okay, here we go. That is delicious. That one really tastes like strawberry too.
Absolutely. This is like summer in a glass. This is what you're looking for on a hot day when you just need something really refreshing. Because it does have that acidity, you can pair with food. It'll start sweet on your tongue, but then it dries out as it finishes, which is really good so it doesn't overpower your palate. So next I'd like to try our blackcurrant, that's our Cassis Noir wine. This one's really special. It's extraordinarily fragrant. It has a ton of acidity in it, and it is a really great food pairing wine with your heavier foods and your red meats, okay? This one is full and fresh, and we actually ferment it with the stems and leaves, and that allows for more fragrance and aroma that come from the stems and leaves, not just from the skins. It is so beautiful when you try it.
Wow. And the color is gorgeous.
Isn't it just such a nice,
I love
deep,
it.
rich cherry red?
It really does look like cherry red. And how would you describe the smell?
Well, this one here, if you've never had a blackcurrant before, we call it herbaceous. It's earthy, it's woody, and it gives you that really sweet, sweet fruit on the tip of your nose.
Neat. I don't smell any leaves.
No leaves,
Or stems.
just delicious fruit.
That one isn't that sweet either.
No, and this one here is a drier wine. The acidity is really carrying it forward. And as I said before, it's allowing you to actually taste more of the fruit. You're getting salivation in your mouth. It's just gonna make you crave more and more in your glass. And that's where you want that food pairing, because it's gonna help cut both sides of the direction.
Is that your secret? Is that why you're doing so well? Because there's something that's making people crave it when they're drinking it? They need more.
Just
Fill it up,
delicious wine.
fill it up. I like that one too. That is definitely not what I thought. I thought it was going to be very sweet, but it's not.
No, it's a very big misconception in the fruit wine world that all fruit wines must be sweet. As a matter of fact, I think that this is something that the industry is going to be changing over the next 20 to 30 years, but it's going to take everyone to try it for the first time to really understand that fruit wines weren't what they were 30, 40 years ago, that they are very complex, that they have that body, that you can pair them with foods, and they can serve all the same purposes that grape wines do.
Wonderful.
Well, I'd like to move on to the final wine we're going to try for now. We can keep on going later. This wine here is called our Indulgence. It just recently won a gold medal at the National Wine Awards of Canada in a fortified category, which includes all the grape wines as well.
Okay.
So this wine here is very well known around our community. Actually usually sells out in only a matter of weeks, because as soon as it's available, everybody comes in and grabs it. So it's actually a nice treat for us to be able to try it today.
And what's the fruit in this one again?
So Indulgence is actually a raspberry port-style dessert wine.
Yum, yum, yum.
So with this wine, we actually only macerate it with alcohol for about 36 hours, and then we finish it, fortify it, and sweeten it a little bit. So there's no fermentation that happens in this wine. It's actually 16% alcohol, so it's quite strong. That's why we serve it in a nice light, small bottle. That way it won't overpower you.
Sure, and it's a dessert wine, which is common for it to be higher in alcohol, right?
Absolutely. You can use this in cooking. You can actually just drizzle this over ice cream. This is a fantastic finishing your evening wine.
I think you should just pour it over ice cream. It smells so good. Okay, well, cheers on this one. That one is very bold. Am I doing well? I'm not. I don't know the right words to say here.
Characteristics are
Okay. It's sweet.
Yes.
It does have a sweet taste. I can taste the fruit. I love it.
So this is a real rich wine. It's very thick. It's very juicy. This is almost jam in a glass.
Yes.
In terms of how it really represents the raspberry in a very traditional sense, and it's very authentic. So this wine here is exactly what you're looking for that after meal snack. And this here is always a crowd pleaser. All ages like it. Everybody's a big fan.
I could just put this on a scone and just.
Oh my God. You're giving me good ideas. Look at that.
Wine on scones. Wine and scones. You should have a wine and scone party.
Absolutely.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing this beautiful fruit wine with me. And now I know what to do, and I have some fruit at home that I don't know what to do with.
Absolutely.
Send it to you so you can make it into wine, because I sure don't know how to do it.
Bring it to me and we'll take care of it. But you know what? I think you're on your way. I've seen what you've done today. You were able to help us crushing and pressing the apples. It's been a wonderful time meeting you in Prince George.
Well, thank you so much, and cheers to the Bears.